Like, I'm really just here to do my job, actually. That's all I came here to do. The same way you can show up and not think about your skin color, that would be great.
When we get into these spaces, as much as, we might be tired of wanting to be the representative, like that's how we bring more of us into these spaces. It's not about making them comfortable, but it's about showing that, oh, this nigga know what he doing. You know what I mean? And so once you know what you're doing, now they're comfortable and saying, okay, well, I do know this black person at work who does a really good job.
I know, that's the pressure though. That's exactly the pressure.
But like, even on my worst day, you can't beat me. So I'm always, you know what I mean?
They can't, but the perception is the thing. We're not battling the truth. We know how great and awesome we are, but we're battling the perception because ultimately that's what's opening a whole lot of doors. Let's Talk. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alexis, and the purpose of this channel is to have real conversations about life, love, and relationships. I'm back with Kimoy, and we're going to be talking about... Shit, what are we talking about? Guys, had some technical difficulties today, and so I drank all of my drink, and you're going to see the effects of that today. All right, anyways, we're going to get into it. So we started a discussion a while ago. You had asked me a question, and I want to circle back to it because I'm putting on this local event, as you know, talking about the need for diversity in STEM careers, so that's science, technology, engineering, and math. And when I tell you, it has been dredging up all of the frustrations that I've ever felt of working while Black in white spaces. So you had asked me something along the lines of, like, do I see myself as a woman first or Black first?
Right.
And I think you were kind of, I don't know if you were shocked by my answer, but I definitely said, like, yeah, my Blackness is kind of the bigger obstacle most of the time in identifying with the women, and it didn't really go. But I wanted to pose that question now to you.
Okay.
Do you identify as Black first or male first?
I'm Black. Every day.
Black.
I identify with Black first, and I also feel like if most people identified as Black first, then we would have less quarrels among us, because the betterment of our community supports men and women rights, because it's our collective group.
Gotcha.
Because within the Black community, you have Black men, Black women, Black with disabilities, Black homosexuals, or Black LGBTQ
IA plus.
Right, that community. So I just feel like if we were more Black-minded in creating safe spaces for Blacks, then we would be better off. So that's what I try to do. I'm always going to be about our community first.
Yeah. So being male never really comes into...
No, it never. It's all. I'm Black every day. When you see me, you see a Black man. Yeah. So man is always secondary.
Yeah. Right. So. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel, is that when I walk into a space, my Blackness is noticed before my womanhood. Especially when I'm talking about white spaces or anything that isn't Black. Yeah. All right. So we're in two different, like, career fields or whatever, but even outside of that, like this frustration of, kind of working while Black in white spaces, I felt all my life. I was a lifeguard and felt this, like, everything that I've done, because we walk around noticing our Blackness, like, acutely aware of, and I don't know, maybe it's maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I feel it. I notice it. I'm aware of it. I'm conscious of it. And I don't know, it's just like an added layer of like effort that has to go into curating my black self navigating this white space. How do you feel about it?
I felt like at one point in time, like I used to feel like that. I used to feel like I knew I was black and the black person in the room.
Yeah.
You know, all through school, I was one of, and that's how I said it because I was one of maybe 3, maybe 4.
Facts.
But then I got to a place where I realized that I moved the needle. My blackness in any space moves the needle. So it's not even. So it's more so how much room can I take up in these white spaces rather than, oh, I'm in these white spaces.
So
for me,
yes, I think that's good. That gets to the kind of idea of our blackness that, like Charlemagne said, black privilege, and the idea that we control the culture, we control the cool, we control the pace. Like we are so noticeable that we become like the parameter. We just kind of
and
the gauge,
right.
How often do you feel now you're put in this situation where you're the one of? Still, is it very common?
No, I take that back. So outside of work, I'm majority of the time in black spaces. I have cultivated a life to where the people that I see, doctors, nurses, you know what I'm saying, dentists, everything that is around me is black.
Oh, okay, so you're everybody.
Black. Yeah, I am. So that's what I see. But there have been times in work where I was one of. So like this past year, I was one of 3 male black teachers on campus. 2 of us were in the classroom, 1 wasn't.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was still in a black space because the principal was black, the other teachers were black, but you know, that's when I'm one of black male. That's how you put it.
Yeah. I feel like I have been in white spaces my entire life. The only time it was black is home. Like my neighborhood, grew up in a very much black neighborhood. But my mom was very intentional about sending us far enough away to get a good enough education. Unfortunately, it wasn't where we lived. So I had to cross a whole bunch of socioeconomic spheres to get to where I went to school at, you know? It was definitely a very, very visible change in like setting, just going from home to school. And then, you know, with every passing year, the more education I accumulated, the less of me I saw. One of is all I know. To the point where going to college, I was looking at the percentages of like black people in schools. And once it got to a certain number, I was almost uncomfortable. I was like, well, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do there. Is how do I exist when there's more than one of me? Like, what's going on? So I as much as I can't stand it, it was all that I knew. Although at home I was blackity black. Everywhere else I couldn't be. So I mean, the privilege of it, of being the cool curator, that shit is annoying as hell. So, you know, I've worked in a bunch of white spaces. Pretty much. I don't think I've ever worked in actually, no. I had one lifeguarding job in a black neighborhood, and that's the most of black people that I ever like worked around. I went to work one day. I'm not going to say which job. And when I tell you it was Black History Month. And so, you know, the well-meaning whites.
I always want you to, you know what I'm saying? What?
The well-meaning whites wanted to make sure that they paid homage to the Negro culture. And they had James Brown, I'm Black and I'm Proud, on repeat. I don't want that privilege. I don't want it. I don't want it. That at that time I was one of two. And when I tell you, me and the other were messaging it came on at least 12 times. I was like, is this playlist
That's
3
wild.
songs long? Like,
that's wild.
What the fuck? And you know, the annoying part is, you know, that they're trying so hard to be inclusive, but they don't know what the hell to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of getting my work done, I'm supremely embarrassed every time the song comes on. I don't know that I feel like it's a privilege all the time. Like, I understand it, but I don't want this weight of having to be the face of all Black people every time I step into a meeting or the building. Like, listen, anybody comes to the office, whether they're making a delivery or they're here for a meeting, if they're Black, it's like, hey, that's your boy, that's your girl. At least that's what I feel in my mind. They haven't actually said that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're all thinking. I don't know. It's just such an awkwardness that you're forced to combat on a regular basis, hoping that every time someone Black steps into the space that they act right, that they don't, like, because you feel as though we are the only Black faces that they see. They already have their thoughts about what Black people are, who Black people are, how Black people are. And so we're here to make sure they know that we are just normal fucking people. Just as civilized as you.
You know what? I find that so interesting. As I listen to you talk, I'm just like, I'm so the opposite. And
I'm fucking annoyed. That's what I am.
I surround myself with others that are similar. Like,
yeah.
If you look at us as the gauge for the community,
yeah,
boy, you gonna be so wrong. Cause I'm gonna get in here and do some nigga I'm gonna be a nigga. I am.
Listen.
But that don't mean that's how but I do nigga stuff. There's this TikTok where it's like this guy is thinking, and he's like, your coworkers be like, why don't you speak up? Because if you really understood that I'm a nigga and I have nigga thoughts and I want to say nigga things, and if I really said what was on my mind in this non-nigga space, y'all would understand that it ain't what it is. Mm-mm. And so, like, that's how I am. I live my life like I'm me. I'm Black. I'm gonna do Black stuff. Because that is exactly who I am. If you are uncomfortable with it, whose fault is that? Because I'm gonna keep doing it. If you come into this space, like if I'm at work, and today I feel like hopping over the counter. Oh no! So, as you know, I work at a school, and in the front office, they got it on tape. Like, I've hopped over the counter. You know. But see, this is a Black space, and so Black people will egg each other on. I bet you won't do it. Who won't do it? And so I hopped over the counter, but it wouldn't matter if it was at a Black school or a white school. Like, would it? It wouldn't, because my last 3 years was at a white school, and they'll tell you I was hopping over the counters.
So it was a couple of years ago. We was in a huddle just talking with some coworkers, again, all white. I'm the only Black person there. And we was talking about something. This boy said something wild. And I said, nigga, in the midst of nothing but white folks. And I said, man. But in the moment, though, I
didn't think about it.
Gave no fucks. Yeah. Like, it just, yes. And don't you dare. That's it. You know, I went with it. It didn't really bother me. But most of the time, it's pulling myself back, or in every conversation, like we were talking about the other day about in China, some kind of mountain that you climb, and it's super like dangerous to get through this path, and many people die on the way to this path. And I'm like, oh, I wonder how many Black people there are. You know, that's just my thought. 0. Every time that happens. Yeah, and I'm saying that out loud. Like,
it's just like when I don't know where I was, but I wasn't around. Right. And they were talking about how 25 out of the 27 people who have ever climbed Mount Everest have died. Those numbers aren't the correct one, but like, understand, majority of the people who have tried it And we were just like, they look, I said, how many people did you just say die? Right. That's the number of people that it would have told me that that's not okay. One of them. We are not going to do some stuff like that. And I'm not afraid to tell them. Black people ain't climbing no mountain that's killed 25 people.
No. For what?
For what?
For what? It's enough of an adventure going outside with a hoodie on. And I'm okay.
So, I have no problem educating, being in a white space. Because if I'm in the space, it can't be white. Because I'm black. I'm the blackest person in the room. So it's no longer a white space.
Nah, bro. I don't. Nah, I definitely don't feel. I feel like them spaces be extra white, extra male, extra saucy. Like that.
I got enough flavor for everybody in here.
I don't want to give it out.
It just shake off.
I don't know. I feel exhausted of having to be the representation everywhere. I feel exhausted of having to address like all the like microaggressions and things that happen on a regular basis. I know I'm happy that, you know, usually in a work setting, they know you enough that they have a respect for you. They know how you get along, get on through life. So it's not like just a random black person that comes. So you do have the unique opportunity to educate them on stuff. But I'm tired of trying to educate. I'm tired of trying to educate on just, but you know, I will sometimes, but sometimes I'm just like, they're gonna have to find another nigga. Like I can't do this work all the time. Like I'm really just here to do my job, actually. That's all I came here to do. The same way you can show up and not think about your skin color, that would be great.
I feel you, but for me, I just feel like, so I'm in education and the percentage of male teachers is low and the percentage of black male teachers are even lower. So I am somewhat of a unicorn and I am fairly competent at my job. I'm rated highly effective. And so that is like, whatever. So they try to get me to move into the administration side of education because there aren't many of us black male young educators, but it's just like I get that, but I'm more effective in the classroom to where my influence can be inspire or teach the next generation rather than those that are stuck. I just feel like it's part when we get into these spaces, as much as, you know, we might be tired of wanting to be the representative. Like that's how we bring more of us into these spaces. It's not about making them comfortable, but it's about showing that, oh, this nigga know what he doing. You know what I mean? And so once you know what you're doing, now they're comfortable in saying, okay, well, I do know this black person at work who does a really good job.
I know. That's the pressure, though. That's exactly the pressure.
But we already do. But I just feel like if we just relied on what got us to where we were, then we don't have nothing to worry about. Because this is what I used to, when I first got to college, sitting in those auditoriums and being one of. Yeah. You know, it's 250 kids, maybe 50 out of those 200 are black, and you're feeling like, dang. But then when that whole Aunt Becky scandal happened where like they were it made me realize with all the opportunity that they have and they literally got parents who alumni, they have private tutors, they have all the resources and they still have to then cheat to get in. Like I know I wasn't even taking high school serious. Yeah. I played sports. I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. My grades were second nature. Yeah. So then when I got to college and I had to do work, like I did work, but I was outside. Yeah. And I still got here. You had to pay. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, even on my worst day, you can't beat me. So I'm always, you know what I mean?
They can't, but the perception is the thing. We're not battling the truth. We know how great and awesome we are. But we're battling the perception because ultimately that's what's opening a whole lot of doors. And that's the frustrating part about it.
But then once you get into it, they're they have the perception, but once you have the data, the results, it don't matter. Same example. I'm in education. Mm-hmm. They do not like the way that I conduct my classrooms.
Yeah.
They don't.
I believe it.
Because I do it very not traditional. Very. We are up and down. We running around. Kids are playing. They talking. They jumping up and down. Mm-hmm. Kids love my classes.
I can only imagine.
Administrators come in and they are losing their whole mind. Because what are you really in here doing? Yeah. But then we just got our results back.
Yeah.
Out of the 4th grade, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 being the highest score you can get. Mm-hmm. We had 14 4s. Mm-hmm. 9 of those are mine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, what do my results show?
Yeah.
I get the job done. So, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter what you think. It don't matter. I get it done. So, I can still look back.
What if we're not? Like, our counterparts aren't always getting it done, but are still in the same spaces. So, what I would love is an equal playing field for us to be able to excel and fail and be viewed the same way, you know? Viewed based on merit. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think that somebody that's like failing needs to be or elevated in any way, but it shouldn't change based on the skin color of the person. But that's not what we see. It's almost seen like if or at least maybe I'm just internalizing, I don't know, projecting. If I fail, it's seen as a bigger fail, or more so it's what they already expected. So it's like, I can't. That's the pressure that I'm talking about. Like, not having the freedom to just live, but I have to excel to make sure that they know that we are capable. Like, if they see one of us that's not capable, it just is confirmation bias for everything they already believed about us. You know?
I do think that's a little of a projection. I don't think all of them feel like, look at this nigga.
No,
like, I don't.
That's exactly what I hear.
I really don't. But I do understand that, you know, there is a silent culture that feels like that looks at us like. But at the end of every day, history teacher now, we just understand that we've always been better and done better. Mm-hmm. So it's getting out of the mindset that we have to perform, because we just do. Like, think about all the times where you didn't give something your best effort, but it was still a home run. Now you think, man, if I would have, if I really, they're just like, oh man, you did such a great, but you're just like, bro, like, I put that together last night.
I mean, I don't know that I always feel that way. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, sometimes I'm just mediocre.
No, for real. But I feel like my average is better than some people's, like, best.
I mean, it just depends on the circle that I'm in. Like, no lie. Like, it really does depend. If I'm surrounding myself with excellence, it's not always that easy to just be on top. Just keeping up is quite a feat. Being considered to be, like, on the same ranks is a feat. Like, and I, like, no cap, I've always been in, like, spaces where people are, like, top percentile, like, legit. So just keeping up, nobody's taking into account where I'm coming from or what I'm facing every day when I wake up. Like, my counterparts they have all these resources, they have all these opportunities, this lineage, this familial kind of history that has given them this access that I've had to kind of fight for. Like, it's not like I'm over here crushing it beyond them, but if you look at the distance that I've had to, like, gain in order to be on par with them, that's a different story. Like, my ability to get here took a whole lot more fight than theirs did, but it may not look like I'm crushing it more than them. Like, they might be better. So it's not like, yeah, I mean, if I was to go and do something that just came to me easily, naturally, whatever, then that's one thing. But when I'm having to put in all the effort that I have in something, like, no, my daily experience isn't just things that are easy. Like, it is things that are really tough that I'm having to, like, rise to the occasion for, and, like, watching my peers getting there but not having to face as many obstacles.
But I feel like that in itself talks to what I mean, because you know that you're not giving it, being that where you come from, what you have to face, the things that you see. Even if you're given this, all you can give it at this moment in time, you're not giving it everything that you can. Because you have so much, you have to diversify your attention, your time, because of the things that you have to face and overcome. That gap that you were talking about. To whereas your counterparts are so secure that they can just pour in 90% of their energy into this project, whereas I'm really only giving it 40% because I still have to take care of this. I still have to take care of that. I'm still facing, and I'm saying for me, looking at a situation like that makes me really walk into any room and be like, there's nothing that I can't do, because I face so much to just be here, just like you said, and I'm in the top percentile.
Yeah.
I'm not even giving it my whole attention, not because I don't want to, but I can't. I don't have the bandwidth to really pour, but what I do pour, I'm running with y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna always have my best day because I might, and so it's just, for me, that allows me to own those. That's why I'd be like, ain't no such thing. When I walk in the room, ain't no such thing as a white space. Because what it took for me to get here, baby. But I'm not saying there's not other whites that, or people who come from affluent backgrounds that don't have things that they have to overcome and face. And just
of course,
I'm just mean, like, when it comes to it, I know the fight that I had. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, with everything that's going on in the world, in my own family.
But nobody cares.
They don't.
That's the part that it is. Like, all that fight, all that stuff that you're doing. I mean, that to me, it's on top of the regular struggle to get to where you are that everybody is facing at the same time. I feel like it's an added layer that is unique to people of color. Not to say, regardless of whatever they're experiencing, we can have that plus the added layer of being Black in that space. And that is not accounted for ever. It is just, I don't even know if they know it half the time. I don't know because honestly, when we find out, we'd be shocked. We're like, dang, so I got to deal with this and go to work? Like, it's just too much. Like, I remember, and
it just don't bother me too much.
I mean, I wish that it didn't.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
I don't know how to not do. Maybe if I was in more Black spaces, but because this has been since literally kindergarten, it is always something.
I personally think it's harder to be in Black spaces than it is to be in white spaces. Because
I can get that. Go ahead.
It isn't all that stuff.
Yeah.
We all experience it. So now what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, now what are you doing? You can't use that as an excuse because everyone's got that.
Yeah, I get that.
So they expect a level of excellence that others are putting in.
Yeah. With
the same or even more outside mitigating circumstances and factors.
Yeah. But do you feel like there's, like, you can focus on your craft and not your color? Like, I don't even know what that feels like.
I feel, so for me, it's the way that you feel in their space is how I feel in our space.
Really?
It is, because you have so many different types of us there, right?
Yeah.
And we're all moving towards the same goal. Mm-hmm. And if our leader is one of us, then it's definitely like, I'm holding you to expectation.
Yeah.
That I hold myself to. And then when you really think about some of the standards that we hold ourselves to, they're like ridiculous. So now you have a mom figure, a dad figure who is expecting you. They don't want you to disappoint them.
Yeah. And
so now it's like, I really have to always put my best foot forward, because not only am I doing this for me, I'm a reflection of you, because you're the one who's gonna fall on the sword if things don't look right. They're gonna come down on you. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it is more of a pressure, a burden to really be excellent. in black spaces than it is to be in white spaces. Because when I'm in white spaces, I literally do the bare minimum. Oh my gosh, great job. And I just be like, all right, cool.
I don't know what, see, my white spaces are not like that.
Oh man, bare minimum.
I mean, now that's the case if I'm just showing up like looking fly. Like I'm always gonna be the coolest looking or whatever, that kind of thing. But when it comes to actually,
no, I mean, and doing the work, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
going from the school that I was at to the school that I taught at last year.
Yeah,
going from being there were only 2 black teachers at my whole school to being maybe 5 white teachers at my whole school. Right? There was a level of, yes, I'm getting it done. Yes, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to, but this is maybe a last minute thing. This is maybe like, it's done. I'm going to kill this presentation. I'm going to kill whatever is in front of me, but I really didn't try to knock it out the park when I was in my other space. But when I'm in these spaces where everyone looks like me and they know
what you doing, right?
Yeah, you checked all your boxes, but you didn't give that no effort.
Yeah,
you didn't really put in the time, that thought, the consideration in what you were doing to put your best foot forward. Like, I can see that.
Yeah.
And so it's like a dang.
See, on my part, it's the disappointment is, make no mistakes, excellence is excellence.
Right.
Black or white, we know what is good work, at least where I'm typically used to being. And so while they might allow me to skate by because it's like, oh, that kind of thing, that, first of all, I don't want none of that. I want to make sure that I'm where I am because I deserve to be here, not based on some kind of pity or some kind of quota that you're trying to meet. So when I don't measure up, it feels like that feeling that you're feeling about like reflecting bad on like your quote unquote parents or whatever. I feel like I'm reflecting bad on all of Black people.
Yeah, no, I don't. But see, my thing is I've never been one to perform. Like, anytime someone tries to make it like, oh, you do that dance, come do that dance for us. No, I don't perform. If I want to do something, like, I'll do it, like, I'll put on, but I'm not gonna perform because, like, to me it's very like dance monkey dance whenever somebody wants you to do something. So even for my work, where it's like, oh, we want you, okay, like, if it's an extra layer of, this is your pressure, this really doesn't affect what I'm doing or how I do things, I'm not going to take it on.
Yeah, sure.
But then it's just like, you give, I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, you know what I mean? When you do good work, when you're a person of, like you said, I'm always in the top, like, that's your,
yeah,
and so it's just, even if you have a bad day or, you're not at your best, there's still a level of, there's still that gap where you're above average. And so it's just, when it comes to being around them, I can always just be at, like, I don't have to advance. I don't have to push through. I don't have to, you know what I'm saying, do the extra research to make sure, like, I make sure every T is dotted, every T is crossed, every I is dotted.
Yeah, I don't feel like I can do that. I feel as though it'd be one thing if there was a Black person at this level, a Black person at this level, Black person at this level, so they're able to see the full range of all that we can do. No, it's just me. So whatever I do is all that they see we can do. Whatever I don't do is all that they see that we don't do. I mean, of course, there are more, and they know more than one Black people, but it's not like a whole bunch of us that are just here. Like, I'm in a predominantly white male field. It is not something that you typically, to the point where they see me, like I'm a unicorn. You can count on a hand how many Black licensed female architects there are. Like, it just is not something that's common. So it is very much like we are the representation that they see. And so it does come with this layer of, if I don't do it, do they understand that it's just me and not the whole of us? And although I know that they know that mentally, I still feel like they internalize a part of it. And it's like, if we don't rise to the occasion, it's expected. If we do, it's a shock. And so now when I don't, I feel like honestly, it's like, well, maybe I'm okay being here right now. You know, maybe I'm okay staying here for a little bit, but I feel like it's more of a reflection than I want it to be. And I just don't want to carry that weight every time I step onto a project or step into the building. And even if I'm not carrying the weight of just like rising to the occasion, carrying the weight of how we need to be treated, how we need to be respected, and having to enforce that. Like, I'm the police for Black people in my office. Is what I feel like. What?
It gives me take on more than put on.
Take on more than put on.
Right. Mm-hmm. Meaning, like, I'm listening, and I feel like from what you're saying, it's a lot of I'm taking on this responsibility because of
my views.
The lack of representation. So I feel like I have to stand in this place. And when you do something, I have to let you know that is not acceptable to the Black community, or this is how more of us can act. But I just feel like even in those spaces, it's more so it's just you. You know, it's literally just you. So you're not a representation of the community. You're just a representation of you. And so when it comes to what they think, they're not exposed to enough of us for it to really affect their perception. They can only be exposed to you, and then it adjusts how they feel about you. Because I even had that when I was in high school, being one of in the school that I went to, honors, AP classes, all of that. When the election, my senior year, Obama's first term came out, and I wore an Obama shirt to school. People that I had been in school with since elementary school were hitting me with that. I thought you were one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's just like, I've always just been me. But in this moment, they want to be like, oh, so you were a representative. But I had never told you that I was a representation of my entire population, because I can't be. The sample size is too small. I'm just me. And I have a lot of views and things that run contrary to
the rest of the people that might look like me.
Right. So I have never taken on the community to be where it's like, it's my job to reflect, because even within my community, I'm a unicorn. There ain't a lot of niggas like me.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. And so it's just, that's the part that's frustrating.
I don't try to take it on,
because we're not a monolith. But regardless of whether we take that on, that's what they see.
I don't think all of them see that.
They may not all see it, but the sample size that I get, like, I've had them come and ask me these questions.
Right,
like,
but that's also
why do.
But that's also curiosity, and not when you're not exposed. Exactly. You ask questions in a way that you don't know that it's not tactful.
Exactly. But they don't know.
But now you have the opportunity to inform this one person. You can choose not to, or you can choose to. But I still feel like you're taking it on more than they're putting on you.
No, they don't give a fuck, honestly. Right. But that's the thing. They may not give a fuck, but who does their not giving a fuck affect?
Shareholders.
Trayvon Martin. Like, it affects us because it becomes their perception of us. It is their perception of us.
Right.
It's up to us to change. Well, not really up to us, but if we would like to not be affected by it.
I feel like that's kind of a extreme correlation to try and draw.
How do you think these subtleties happen? They start from a certain space and they become this.
Right, but even in that moment, in that Trayvon instance, you have the zeal of a rent-a-cop to want to enact his justice, per se. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yes.
And I just feel like when it comes to them not caring, it's more so of
It doesn't affect them.
It's not a big deal to me. And we do it too, because there are...
Absolutely. Causes that don't affect us that we don't care about.
Right. So I just feel like if they really don't care, you know what I'm saying, then...
let them not care. I think that that's a privilege that they can rest in, that we don't have the privilege to, because the same way we're not in those spaces that actually affect the control of our lives. Now, if we was in all these spaces, if we were all the cops, if we were all the sheriff, if we were all the policymakers, the controllers of then that's a different story. You can afford to not give a fuck what anybody else thinks. But when the people that make decisions are either we get in those spaces directly or we influence them indirectly by making sure they understand who we are.
See, I disagree. And that just, because I look at it like this, right?
Yeah.
We had Donald Trump as president for 4 years.
Correct.
Right? In your everyday, day-to-day life, what effect did that have on you?
Most of the time I would say nothing. It doesn't really affect day to day. I will say the emboldening of people that are closer. Now that I did see in the field, but on a large scale, a macro scale, no. I still woke up and did the same damn thing.
Right. And I just feel like that is what we miss a lot of times. Because if we're going to be 100% honest, and I taught civics, history, government for 2.5 years. A lot of these laws, a lot of these things that policymakers are putting in place have absolutely nothing to do with the community that we live in.
Internationally. Now, locally, that's a different story.
Right.
Correct.
But I'm saying, like, when the president changes the head of, Department of Education, they go in and they do stuff, like, locally that has no effect on our everyday, day-to-day lives. And so I just mean... when it comes to being in those spaces, being in those areas, like, we do have the privilege at times to not take that on, because even if I do change your mind, what does that change for the next person like me? Because if you're one of now, you're on the outs. Because I introduced you to a black person that can work really hard and can kill it and can show you excellence. And you're like, man, maybe I can find another one just like her. If there's 9 other people who don't care, what did you really do? And so I just mean, like, if you just go in and do what you're supposed to do and you have your good days, you have your bad days, and it is whatever, then it is at the end of the day. The
reason I disagree is because I see it happening. Like, I can make a difference if I actually choose to. Like, especially, as an architect, there are projects that come through that can either I can be on the project or I can not be on the project. There are people that they may not be depending on me, but if I'm not there, their voice is not going to be heard. Like, it's a real direct one-to-one correlation type thing.
Okay.
And when I choose to do my job well, they are opening doors for more. Or I have the ability to say, hey, I know this other person, I can vouch for her. And they will take that based on the person that they have seen me to be. My credibility is now being able to be transferable. It's a commodity at this point.
Right, but that's also like you. You know what I'm saying? That's what you've put in, not necessarily you as a representation of the community or the culture, but you as an individual, as a worker.
It's showing them that it's possible kind of thing. That's what it is, because if I'm one of, they're not seeing it as a regular thing. They don't think that they can just go out and pick any black woman and be able to get this level of, I don't know, work or aptitude or whatever the case may be. That's just not what it's not a bet they're willing to take most of the time. It's more like, let's see how this goes. Let's put her in and then see. Like, of course, they took a chance on me, but I came recommended because I did my job well by somebody that worked there before, kind of thing. And that's most of the case every time I've been at a place. It's like, there's somebody there that I know that I have worked well around that has been able to vouch for me. Because, to be honest, like, it's just not.
What color were they?
They were white.
Okay.
That's
I was just asking.
who else was there gonna be?
I was just asking.
Who else was there gonna be to vouch for me? It wasn't no black people there to vouch for me.
Right.
There were none. I am it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I tell you when there's two, I'm like, what? But usually it's just me. So I don't know. I don't know. But then outside of that, there's also the part of like the tokenism, and then just having to deal with, I don't know how many can I touch your hairs I've had to deal with, it's from coworkers, it's from extended, like their, significant others and stuff like that, and having to find a way to do things tactfully. Or, oh man, at a previous job, one of my bosses, like, again, all well-meaning, was talking about an event space that we were going to go for one of our like holiday parties, and it was a place that back in segregation, it was very late to the party of integration, and it was like past its time, not allowing Black people to be there. And so when they were debating on getting this place, he was like, "Oh, Alexis, you can come too now." I said, "Oh, isn't that nice?" I grabbed my purse and I went home and I called my mom, and I had to ask her how I should handle this, because all I wanted to do was never go back. I wanted to scream, and I'm like, and they don't even know how disrespectful that was, or how much that hurt me for them to be like, what are we saying right now? What's happening right now? And I had to find out how to tactfully address my boss on, no, this is not appropriate to say. This is not a joke. You've crossed the line, and all this other stuff, all the while hoping that it's not gonna, create this tension where he feels like I'm problematic or has to walk on eggshells and treat me differently. Like, I just want to go to work and go home. That's it. But I'm having to feel like I'm fighting racism every day at work. Like, me deciding to get faux locks. When I tell you, you know how many weeks I had to sit on this? Like, girl, you ready? Girl, you know that your hair has been this long, and you're gonna come back and your hair gonna be this long. You know that they're gonna say something. What are you gonna be ready? Are you prepared for it? So when I did finally muscle up the courage to actually get faux locks in my hair, which is something that I would have gone, many times doing, like in school or whatever the case may be, but you know how white people are. And so I go in, and my like supervisor's like, "Oh, I wish my hair could grow that fast." When I tell you, I went and found a whole ass like article and printed out on like microaggressions in the workplace and what Black people feel on a regular basis. I printed it out, stapled it, and put it on his damn lap, or I put it on his desk rather. Because I'm bothered, because I'm already having to worry so much about what people are going to say, hoping that they'll just be fucking normal and let me change my hair and just show up. And at the most say, "Oh, I like your hair." Or just say nothing at all. I'm okay with that too. But it doesn't happen.
But I also feel like you have to understand that culture shocks are a thing. And that when you're not exposed to something, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna say something problematic. And so
is that the case for Black people that are used to being immersed in other people's culture?
Yes, we still go to other countries and say problematic things.
Countries. We're in our home fucking country.
Right, but there are 2 countries inside of this country. We know that.
But we weren't born in that other country, so we don't identify with that as we should.
Right.
So being native to this country.
Black and whites were born in this country, but we live in 2 different worlds.
Yes.
And our worlds, sometimes they clash, they coexist, or they run parallel to each other.
We are immersed in their world, and they are not immersed in ours.
But we don't have to be. We can go the extra mile.
We just got Black emojis last year.
Right, but that is something that is the same both ways, because when you're talking about your boss,
yeah,
and the thing about the hair and the thing about now you're able to go literally 50 years ago,
yeah,
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that. Right.
Right. No, we're not far removed.
Right. So that is the culture and the mindset that we currently, us who are in tuned and are bright and all that, we have to understand, yes, progression and all that, but we're literally not even 50 years removed from them running into our house, snatches it up and hanging us from trees. Yeah. And so we can want all of this to progress to a place where we feel safe and comfortable, but the truth of the matter is that is not the case. So then it is for us to decide what we're going to take on. Because I had a coworker say something very similar, two things very similar. Because when I first started growing my hair out, I was braids in, tip out, fro, twist, and it was just kind of like, dang, how you do that? And I was just like, I'm black. Like, that's it. That's the answer. Yeah. Because it's the truth. We have that versatility. You don't see nothing like this because y'all have to go to the salon to get anything different out your hair. But we can literally 3 different people in the same week. Yeah. And so it's just like, if they're not exposed to that, they don't know how to respond because it's just like, I really can't do that. Yeah. And they really be like, dang. You know what I'm saying? And so I play basketball and I was wearing an ankle brace one time to work because I was an athlete that I would wear it when I wasn't playing rather than when I was playing.
What they thought that was?
One of my coworkers was like, wow, is that an ankle monitor? Oh. And I was just like, you would know, huh? That was my response. Because it wasn't an ankle monitor. But the fact that you thought that that's what it was, that means you have some kind of experience.
You took the time to be clever. I don't have time.
But that's just, rolls off. What I'm going to do, get mad? Oh, you thought.
Because that is exactly what they thought. Experience or not. It was like, oh my gosh. I know where to find out where an ankle bracelet would be.
They're bad.
Ankle monitor. I mean, you say they're bad, but it ain't really. Because they don't feel nothing.
But it don't bother me. It don't. Think what you want.
If those thoughts weren't able to progress into actions that actually do cripple us, then I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. Now, when we're able to do the Marcus Garvey and not have businesses that we need to hire us or partner with us or do anything that contributes to our success, then that's one thing. But that's not where we're at right now.
Probably never get to that neither.
Right. And so until then, this whole we don't need them, but to live in this world that is made up of more than just us, this country that is made up of more than just us, then working harmoniously is to our best interests.
Yeah, I just think sometimes we take it more personal than it needs to. I'm only at work 40 hours a week.
I'm at work more than I'm at home. I'm at work more than I'm with my baby. It is a lot of my life. I get 2 days to myself.
And I mean, I teach, so I know what you mean.
That's where we're at most of the time.
I bring work home with me all the time. I just feel like there's more important things for me to take on.
It is, and that's the frustrating part.
I don't take it on. I don't. It really does not faze me at all. Me personally, it does not have any bearings on anything that I do because we still gonna have to put on our pants, put on our socks, put on our shoes, go to work to make this money to provide. So the circumstances aren't going to change.
When I was on with my previous firm, they were going out for a museum project in a predominantly Black neighborhood. Think about the African American Museum in DC and everything that meant to our culture. So that was the project that essentially we're chasing, and of course, I'm the only one in our firm. So guess who's on the team? All right, cool. They bring me on the team. Imagine if the team of architects that built and designed the African American Museum in DC didn't have a black person on it. Now that firm is headed up by a black person, an African, like he lives in London kind of thing. But if a black person wasn't on that team, I can't imagine that it would have had the same impact that that museum had. That's the only museum that I go and I actually give a fuck. Like, it is amazing how much I'm able to connect with this museum of artifacts and things. Like, it is amazing. Those kind of experiences without a black person in the behind the scenes getting it done don't happen that way. And so it is a very direct correlation to me showing the fuck up at my job and caring and knowing when to say, all right, this is not okay. So I didn't know what to do on that team, to be honest. I'm glad that we didn't get the project because I didn't know how to say. It's like, while I want to be at least in the room, if we're going to get the project, if I'm the only black person, I want to at least be there. But also, I'm not ready to take on the magnitude of what this means to our culture. You know, I don't know, I feel like it's a conundrum, but it does matter. I see direct correlations to these things. And when I don't do my part as showing up for everybody black, I do feel that it has an impact. As much as they may not care, they wake up and they go to sleep, they wake up and they go to sleep. They're the ones that are putting the people in place. They're the ones that are putting me in a position to do it. So until I'm the one that's owning the firm, then it's like I gotta like either play along and do my part or, you know, take over some other type of way. I don't know. I feel like I know it. I don't need to internalize this or take it on myself, but I see the ramifications of what happens when we don't care. Because when I tell you whether we're asleep or awake, these white people be moving. They be getting things done all up and through our communities.
I think for me, I think it just goes back to how we started off. Like, what comes first? And I just feel like, for me, I get up for anything black.
Yeah.
Like, I really, on the inside, get excited for anything black that I get to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I do, because I'm a big component of community, of your neighbors, of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes the village. It takes all of us. That's the only reason why we have been able to survive up until this point, because we looked out for us. I just feel like any opportunity, any chance, any space to where it's like, I'm a part of something black.
Yeah.
You know, that is what is, it just gets me like, yeah. Everything else is just kind of just like, I'm going to do it. So when it comes to like my job and at work, I can see the difference of when I've always taught black kids, but teaching black kids at a black school is different than just teaching black kids. And so when you're at a black school teaching black kids, like, I really understood the importance of my presence. Yes, communication. Hey, look, I'm having a bad day. This is what's going on. So y'all all right with us? Yeah, it's cool. Don't worry about it. And so, you know, and so that's just it. For me, I get up. Like, that's what makes me want to be excellent, to excel, is when I get those opportunities to work on something black, be a part of something black. Because all we got is our community. I don't really care about anybody and everybody else.
I feel that. I feel like it's room for both. I think that there is extremely important work that needs to be done in that space of actually communing in black spaces with black people. And then I feel like there's the work that needs to be done in white spaces on behalf of black people. I think both of them are equally as, well, I won't say equally. I think being like definitely working inside the community, I think, is more important in some ways. But I think as long as we are here cohabitating in this country, we need to be doing the work over there too until we're...
we need to cut it out. Segregation was the worst thing that within the black community.
I mean, I feel that. I mean, the organization that I'm working with, like...
Not integration, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. No, I know what you meant. Yeah, the organization that I'm working with, like... just like many of the other like black meccas that we had during that time that were booming, the reason it stopped is they decided to put a highway right there. And take, like, it was, just racist, urban planners that went ahead and made sure, saw fit that we could no longer thrive in that space because, I don't know, whatever you call it, jealousy or whatever, they just didn't want to see us winning. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm definitely for that. But for whatever reason, we've gotten away from all that. And I mean, yeah, integration and other things. But yeah, this is where we are now. So we all sharing the same space. What we gonna do about it?
Well, this is just me, my take, my rap. Mm-hmm. When it comes down to it, right, there are things that we make a big deal, or there are things that we take on that we don't have to because of what it can cause and how it can make us think. And so when we prioritize what's really important, because there are a lot of things, a lot of red tape, a lot of politics just in my field that you have to play. But at the end of the day, it's really just like what's really important. And what's important is the betterment and critical thinking skills of those that are in my care, that am in charge over. Yeah. And so it's just all that other stuff is great. Yeah. Someone thinks it's important. Yeah. But this is how we gonna move. And so when we just find the strategy into how we gonna attack the game, then it's easier to play.
Yeah. I think I can understand that, like, from your perspective, like, boots on the ground, like, communing with these children on a regular basis, seeing that ain't no children in my space. The black people in my space is me and the communities that we serve. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes then imperative that I'm in the right rooms, that I'm at the right tables to make sure that the people that are making decisions on what communities are torn down, what communities are getting these resources, where we're putting our time and our effort, where we're trying to get rid of these food deserts, like, that shit has lasting implications.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you're in the architectural field. What is it that you would rather be able to just work on any project that you want to work on? Or is it like, I don't always want to get the black projects, or I don't?
Both and. So okay. It's not that I want, if we're gonna have the black projects, I need to be on them, or somebody black needs to be on them. If I'm the only person in the room, then guess who it is? It's not that I want to have specific, like, it's more so if we're gonna have these projects, I want the mission to be on par with what it needs to be.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, don't take the project.
Makes sense.
But also, I don't be wanting to be like nobody's black, like, liaison. But it comes with the
black. I speak nigga, so if you need somebody to translate, I have no problem. Put me in the room, coach, because I get it done.
Yeah, but that does, like, what if it's something that doesn't really mean a whole lot to me, but I have to because it's not about me, kind of thing. It's like I have to put my desires and needs aside for the sake of the bigger cause, and that's making sure that we have proper representation. So,
but yeah, in that instance, is it proper if you're not really interested in it?
I have to rise up to the occasion. I have to step up to the plate.
Okay.
Good. Because they got the job. So it's me or nothing. So I feel like our best chance is at least me. It's not like I can't do it.
Right.
It's my job too. Right. But to me, it's a added like I like when the black project comes across my desk, I feel like I gotta care more. I feel like I have to, like, girl, wake the hell up and dig deep and make sure that you are doing everything you can to make this a great project, a success.
I feel on that. I guess that's that. Now that I have that piece, that's where I don't care about all black causes. Only the black causes that I feel like are really important to the community, there's some that I might find are important to the community. The others be like, that don't matter. And there's things that I'd be like,
I will say most of the things that come across like our firm, like when we take them on, they're impactful. It's schools, it's community centers, it's churches, it's things that actually do matter. It's not like somebody's cookie shop.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, nah. It's usually something that is serious, that is like, no, it really does mean a lot. Yeah. I just don't be always, wanting to be that. I feel like there's, like, if something goes wrong, if the project turns out bad, they're like, where was you that day? That's what I feel like. They're going to look to me. The same way we be like, who was in the room when H&M came out with the damn monkey hoodie? Like, you better believe that whatever black person was in that room is hiding. Like, listen, I was asleep. I didn't come to work that day. Like, I'm sorry. It is that kind of pressure of, you are the one. You're the only one in the room, so that's all we got, and it feels like a heavy weight.
No comment.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like, that's the bullshit that happens when we not at that table.
But what if we were at that table?
Exactly.
So as a matter of fact, we were, because his mom came to the table.
Child.
Whoever represents him, he put it on. Somebody black was in the room and thought that was a good idea, because black people do wear monkeys, but
I mean, it's but not in front of company. Okay, that's what it is, I guess. Well, honestly,
talk to the alphas.
Oh, yeah, that's true, but not in front of company. That's spicy. Why you being spicy? All right. Any lasting thoughts?
Take on what you can take on. You know what I mean? Society's gonna tell us what they think that we should feel is important. And that's not always the case. If it's important to you, stand by it. Fight for it. If it don't matter, don't let nobody make it matter to you.
That's good. And I think I will try to do more of that. I would love white people. Just understand it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Think about the fact that emojis didn't even care that there was anything other than white until maybe 5 years ago. How long ago was it?
I don't know. I just started using emojis like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
We was using emojis the whole time and didn't even realize that skin ain't look like ours. That's wild.
I mean, it's yellow though.
It wasn't even that.
Like, the first set was yellow. Like, it wasn't white or black. Then the niggas was yellow. So
that's a cop out.
It's not.
He was definitely not black.
Most things definitely aren't black.
That's the exact point. The exact point. The world that we live in, we're forced to.
I live in a black world.
I mean, I don't know how much I have to go through to find my baby like black Barbie dolls and black YouTube cartoons, and yeah, it's an effort that's put in to be included.
I think that's going to be our next conversation, because I feel like that is such a modern day cap.
You think so?
I do, because I'm not even American in culture, and I grew up on nothing but black sitcoms, black cartoons, I've only seen black. I'm not going to say that I didn't see white. I'm saying the things that resonated the most, that I related to as a kid up until my teenage, up until my young 20s, up until my 30s, has always been black. And I'm just like, how I come from across the water, that's no experience, and all I see is black.
Oh, that's a great conversation, because the experience of people that are not born Black American it's a different approach altogether.
No, definitely, because I say that
the same way what's taught in your school in schools overseas versus what's taught. Honestly, I don't even know what's taught in schools overseas, but I do know that what's taught here is missing a large portion of what we need to hear.
So
our parents that are raising us are already conditioned. And that's where that's the big difference. Is the parents that are raising us have been conditioned to see themselves as lesser.
It's the same, because we just, whereas here they're taught American culture, history from a European perspective, Anglo-Saxon. We're taught Caribbean history from a British, American,
in
Queen.
A predominantly Black space. Yeah. Where we are taught the European version of whatever they want to tell us, and oppressed at the same time.
I mean, we don't, but it's the same, because we're not taught Caribbean history. We're taught the Queen's, Conqueror of the Caribbean and the Queen's history.
From Black people, is what I'm saying.
There's Black teachers here.
Teaching
white culture.
I'm saying that my parents had black and white water fountains and were taught that they were lesser than the people sitting next to them. So what I'm saying is their minds were conditioned to feel inferior, and then they're teaching their children from that perspective. Not only were they taught nothing about Black history, but they're conditioned to be lesser than, and then passing on that to their children.
I feel that.
Just a generation ago.
But we're also still a third world country, so.
No, absolutely. But I can tell you that my Jamaican friends, Haiti being the first Black independent nation, it's a whole different mindset of superiority that you're able to have, regardless of how destitute the country or the space may be. Having control over it is a different level of independence.
See, from the outside looking in, I feel like no group of Black people on this planet should walk around like we are the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Nobody can touch us than Black Americans, because the type of things that, like, literally the best of the best, because what weakness was bred out.
Yeah.
So it's literally the cream of the crop.
It's only what's up in here, and what they did better than any other place that I know is they got into our minds.
I mean, they still do.
We walking out around here with superpowers, and they're making us feel like this big, and having to get powers. I mean, but we're lucky enough to not have had to walk the earth during that time and had to combat that and still feel superior. That takes a different level of boss. That, to be honest, I don't think our generation we might think we have, because we didn't go through it. But as strong as we know our parents to be, and our grandparents,
I think that because the generation that we currently live on takes on so much, that where they're like, oh, I couldn't have been in those. You're damn right you couldn't have, because you wouldn't have made it, because every little thing would have gotten you killed.
Facts.
You can't tell me that the microaggressions, the disrespect,
because we would have popped off and been dead.
And not just you. Your whole family would have got killed and made an example of.
Yes.
And so it was just like, you really had to learn how
different strength. Yeah.
To understand what was really important.
The meaning of unbothered, we don't know that shit.
I mean, feel like
No, you know why I know? Because your ass pop off quick. You might want to call yourself, yes, you're more unbothered than most of your peers, but that level of unbothered, no, you wasn't. Okay, maybe you've evolved a little bit since your college days, but the stories that you have shared.
I mean, yeah, but even then, that was different. That was different. Because I'm sure the younger, that's why, they had to do the type of things that they had to do to break the first couple of generations of us, because they just was out here doing whatever. But I just feel like,
I think they were a different level of unbothered.
But that's also like I was angry, so like I was just anything could have just set me off at that point in time. So, you know what I'm saying? I may have been one of them slap mouths.
Yes, and been good and dead. Unless you was the Nat Turner, that's fine.
I mean, they called him too, so
yeah. And there was a lot of them before him that we don't know about. That
they don't talk about because they don't want us to know.
Yeah, they don't.
Rebelling since the beginning.
I know, but it's hard to rebel from inside like this.
But I think that would be a good conversation.
It would. I'd be thinking about it.
Black experience, because
it's a thing. It's a really big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although we are just literally just a different stop on the damn slave trade away. That's it. That's all that it is. The experiences seems vastly different here in in America versus the Caribbean, and the perception that we have, that we walk through life with, is different. And I've noticed that most of my life, to the point where I've been jealous because I feel like I internalize a whole lot more racism than my Caribbean counterparts.
Yeah, I would say that
when I talk to my parents and they're telling me stories of what there
is a level of trauma.
Yeah.
That is passed down through the generations, through my Black American friends, that my Caribbean family, we do not pass down. Yeah. Not saying that there isn't a level of trauma that we have seen.
Right. It's just a different trauma.
But we don't, the way that it is passed down from generation to generation in America is completely different.
Yeah. Americans are living with their oppressors.
Yes. We kicked ours to the curb.
Yeah. All the other countries were like, y'all might still be even under colonial rule, but y'all living independently.
They got up out the island, got up out the country.
Yeah, no. We're very much living with. They're across the hall. There are bosses. They're like They're everywhere. Like we might be running some of them too, but it's very. No one's ever been forced to pay in any kind of real way, so it's very much seen as though our strife was, inconsequential. So it's a different experience. There's an inferiority complex that's come out of it that is disgusting, but
definitely think that's gonna be a great conversation.
All right. As always, thanks so much for rocking with us. I'm not sure how long this shit was or how coherent
I know I was babbling for a while, but we appreciate you joining into this key conversation.
Like, share, subscribe, all the things. Please follow, please engage. It is is_Alexis. That's ISS_ALXSS at all social media sites. And for podcasts, it's Lex Talk. That's LEXTLK. And can't wait to see you guys in another video. All right, bye. You've evolved a little bit since your college days, but the stories that you have shared.
I mean, yeah, but even then, like, that was different. That was different. Because I'm sure the younger, that's why, they had to do the type of things that they had to do to break the first couple of generations of us, because they just was out here doing whatever. But I just feel like,
I think they were a different level of unbothered.
But that's also like I was angry, so like I was just anything could have just set me off at that point in time. So, you know what I'm saying? I may have been one of them slap mouths.
Yes, and been good and dead. Unless you was the Nat Turner, that's fine.
I mean, they called him too, so
yeah. And there was a lot of them before him that we don't know about. That
they don't talk about because they don't want us to know.
Yeah, they don't.
Rebelling since the beginning.
I know, but it's hard to rebel from inside like this.
But I think that would be a good conversation.
It would. I'd be thinking about it.
Black experience, because
it's a thing. It's a really big thing. Although we are just literally just a different stop on the damn slave trade away. That's it. That's all that it is. The experiences seems vastly different here in America versus the Caribbean, and the perception that we have, that we walk through life with, is different. And I've noticed that most of my life, to the point where I've been jealous because I feel like I internalize a whole lot more racism than my Caribbean counterparts.
Yeah, I would say that
when I talk to my parents and they're telling me stories of what
there is a level of trauma that is passed down through the generations, through my Black American friends, that my Caribbean family, we do not pass down. Yeah. Not saying that there isn't a level of trauma that we have seen.
Right. It's just a different trauma.
We don't, the way that it is passed down from generation to generation in America is completely different.
Yeah. Americans are living with their oppressors.
Yes. We kicked ours to the curb.
Yeah. All the other countries where, like, y'all might still be even under colonial rule, but y'all you're living independently.
They got up out the island, got up out the country.
Yeah, no. We're very much living with. They're across the hall. They're our bosses. They're like They're everywhere. Like, we might be running some of them too, but it's very. No one's ever been forced to pay in any kind of real way, so it's very much seen as though our strife was, inconsequential. So it's a different experience. There's an inferiority complex that's come out of it that is disgusting, but
definitely that's going to be a great conversation.
All right. As always, thanks so much for rocking with us. I'm not sure how long this shit was or how coherent
I know I was babbling for a while, but we appreciate you joining into this key conversation.
Like, share, subscribe, all the things. Please follow, please engage. It is _Alexis. That's ISS_ALXSS at all social media sites. And for podcasts, it's Lex Talk. That's LEXTLK. And can't wait to see you guys in another video. All right, bye.